Farscape deserves a continuation. We deserve a continuation of Farscape. Welcome to SciTrek, your sci-fi TV and movie channel. Right, Farscape is one of those shows that, I don't know, it broke all the rules. It was seriously ahead of its time. And in a video just over a week ago, I spoke to you about how there are plans for a Farscape continuation. For once, not a reboot, not a reimagining, not a remake, a continuation of a great sci-fi series that left our screens well over 2 decades ago. First of all, let me just tell you about my opinion of Farscape and why, personally, I love the show, before I talk about why I think it's a show that should come back and why it would fit on a certain streaming platform very, very well, in my opinion. Well, when I first saw Farscape, I actually sat down and watched it because of Brian Henson Productions, because I know this is going to sound weird, but I'm a massive Muppet fan.
Oh, what's that? A bell? Time for school.
In my childhood was He-Man, the Muppets, and Thunderbirds. That's basically was my childhood. Thundercats as well a little bit. I might have been in love with Chitara, but when I first saw Farscape, I have to admit, I sat there and went, why are they remaking Buck Rogers in the 25th century? Another show that I absolutely loved. If you actually look, though, at the start of Buck Rogers and the start of Farscape, they're a bit similar.
Flown out of their trajectory into an orbit which freezes his life support systems and returns Buck Rogers to Earth 500 years later.
My name is John Crichton, an astronaut.
A radiation wave hit, and I got shot through a wormhole.
I'm lost in some distant part of the universe on a ship, a living ship.
But actually, once you get past the plot device that was used to get Crichton across the universe and aboard Moya, the Leviathan transport vessel that's centered so importantly in the heart of this show, then there is actually nothing remotely similar between these two shows, Buck Rogers and Farscape. Don't forget that if you're enjoying the video and you want to help support the channel, we need your thumbs up on the video and we need you to throw a comment on. It really helps with those tricky little YouTube algorithms. Farscape was recently described as sci-fi crack by Ben Browder in an interview. He was talking about the difference between SG-1 that he appeared in the last couple of seasons of and Farscape. And he was saying basically, look, they're both sci-fi, they're both amazing, but Farscape was just a little bit more. And that sci-fi on crack comment, joke, it was a joke, does kind of ring true, because it was really a show that had almost no rules to it. It basically just did what it wanted. It was insanely colourful. It was a show that just was completely out there. It kind of knew it didn't have the budget and it didn't have the fan base that Star Trek had. So it knew it had to go out there. It had to be high concept sci-fi. It had to be high action. It had to be sexy. It had to be colourful. It had to be exciting. And my God, was it? The writing was not always amazing, I won't lie. Some of the dialogue was clunky and a little awkward. Some of the acting was, let's say, interesting. And yes, okay, the budget was not significant. There was some, like dodgy special effects. There were some dodgy sets. There were some dodgy storylines. But to be honest, all of that just added to the feel of the show, because it wasn't a big budget Star Trek clean, crisp show. It was supposed to be a show about a bunch of scoundrels on a living ship fighting against all odds, trying to figure out their way through the universe. And that kind of fit the feel and the tone of the show in the fact that it was relatively low budget, like the crew of Moya themselves. I personally love Diago. Now, I know he's dead, But when the show returns, I am going to miss him. He was a big, bearded demon of a character. He was bigger than life. He was absolutely fun. You know what he reminds me of? Brian Blessed.
Gordon's alive?
And I'm not going to deny it. Claudia Black was seriously sexy in this, and so was Gigi Edgley as Shiana. So Farscape deserves a continuation because it is that plucky underdog, a little bit like Babylon 5. I would love to see it return because it deserves it. A show like Farscape deserves a continuation because it was brave. It did put itself out there. It did push the boundaries far more than safe Star Trek ever did. So yeah, it deserves a continuation because it was the plucky underdog. But also we deserve a continuation because, let's be honest, a lot of sci-fi nowadays is quite sanitized. It isn't as imaginative as it used to be. It's not as high concept as it used to be. Even shows like The Foundation, which I adore, and it is quite high concept, is a little bit sanitized, is a little bit safe. And I want to see a show that actually has the bravery of Farscape, that doesn't have the expectations or the demands put on it like a show like Star Trek does, that actually maybe nobody will be watching from the higher ups, that will have a budget that will allow it just to crack on with it. And then maybe we'll get a sci-fi show that's brave enough to push the boundaries once again and to be sci-fi on crack once again. I actually think we deserve that, and this show could deliver it. So that is why I think Farscape deserves a continuation. But what do you think? Please get into the comments and tell me, is this a show that you desperately want to return? And if so, why? Do you agree with me that it pushed the boundaries? Do you agree with me that this was a colourful, sexy, exciting show that, maybe the fact that it had a smaller budget was not necessarily a bad thing? And also, where would you put this show if you got the opportunity? I hear that Amazon is very interested, and I'm wondering if Freevee might be the perfect place for this to go. Somewhere where we can all see it, even though we would have to put up with the annoying adverts. Never mind, eh? But SciTrekkers, what you think is what matters, so get into the comments and tell me. If you are new to the channel, please like, subscribe, hit that bell notification. It really helps us out and you'll never miss any of our new videos. Also, you can go to patreon.com/SciTrek, where most of our new videos premiere first and you get to see them without the adverts, you lucky bunnies. Also, go to scitrek.co.uk, which is our dedicated website where we do articles based on most of our videos and we try to add a little bit more information for you to digest. So go and check it out. As always, please stay safe and I'll see you next time.